PIX on Pigskin from the PIX 11 Sports Department high above 42nd Street in New York City. I'm your host and executive producer of PIX 11 Sports Department, Todd Ehrlich. On today's show, we're going to take a look back on the Giants game. The NFL least produced the best game of the year to date. Look ahead to the Jets taking on their division rivals, the New England Patriots, and a look at the most important position on the field, the quarterback position. We've got our experts, Andy Adler. Andy, welcome in.
Well, thank you, Todd.
We got Joe Massari with Joe. Appreciate you coming in.
Ready to roll.
And we are anchored by one of the greatest linebackers in the history of Jets football. He wrote that for me, Greg Buttle.
And I'm doing this for a cheeseburger, too, just so you know.
In paradise,
and
no
a
less.
T-shirt, by the way. I saw that New York Blitz T-shirt you were rocking today, so Todd hooked you up from what I understand.
Good.
I'm just saying it's a polo shirt, but that's just me. That's just what I'm saying. And it's going to look good on a golf course with your handicap is?
5.2 index.
Wow.
Not bad.
So you got a lot better since last time we played. All right, so let's take a look at the Jets game since we have Greg here first. Big picture. For the first time since Rex Ryan was here in town at the helm of the Jets, they actually have a shot to beat the Patriots. Spread's only 3.5. Have the Jets caught up to the Patriots talent-wise, Greg Buttle?
Have the Jets caught up to the Patriots talent-wise? Absolutely not. I mean, the Patriots are what they are. And as far as Rex Ryan are beating the Patriots, just understand one thing. They didn't beat them offensively. They beat them defensively. They confused Tom Brady. All of those games they won. The offense scored just enough points, but Rex Ryan's defensive genius is what won those games. And I think that you're going to need a little bit more of that going forward because it's not just step on the field and win. It's you got to outthink the other guy.
Tough to outthink Bill. Joe?
Robert Saleh called him the best chess player out there. He's a chess master. I think when it comes to scheming, I mean, we know his record against rookie quarterbacks, Bill Belichick, and he's got one of his own now. But I think that defense people are sleeping on. He made Tua look subpar and had people clamoring for Deshaun Watson once again down in Miami. So I think that the Jets could be in trouble this week once again, especially the fact that they got to shuffle the offensive line around again. We saw what happened with Zach Wilson in Carolina.
Andy, your thoughts on the game?
You know, you got two rookie quarterbacks here, so it's difficult to really assess the situation. I mean, they're both at this point 0-1. So, you know, Joe, I think you were talking about it earlier. You're like, one thing we know for sure is that one of these rookie quarterbacks is ultimately going to get a win this week. And until we see them play a little bit more, it's going to be difficult to assess.
That was prognostication at its best under Joe.
I do.
One of those guys is going to win. I mean, that's just insightful.
I can't be wrong.
No.
You know, you
There
can't.
could be
I
a
can say a lot
tie.
of things
I'm saying
about
there
it.
could be a tie, Joe.
I guess that's
so
true.
You're saying there will not be a tie.
There won't be. I'm going to
guaranteeing
go
it.
out on that limb and say no ties.
We
this
keep
week.
receipts.
That's it.
So, Greg, what can they do to confuse Mac Jones on the defensive side?
Well, again, what I think the best thing that Jets can do is, and again, defensively speaking, to stay in the game, maybe get a turnover, is the Jets, in my estimation, should play a couple of different things. One is they should run blitz more, run blitz on action. What that does is it takes a linebacker and puts him into pressuring the quarterback if it's play action. Number two is it immediately hooks him up with the running back to his side, man to man. So now quarterback doesn't know, is it a blitz, is it man to man, is it zone? Next thing is play man under, which means you have the safeties and the corners playing zone on top. You play man under with your linebackers and maybe your nickel guy and just have them go across. And now you have, as a quarterback, say, what are they playing, man or is it zone? And then, again, zone blitz. If you zone blitz, all of a sudden you're playing zone, but you are blitzing and you're going to take a chance. You're going to leave one area open based on where the blitz comes from because quarterback has to make a decision right now. Oh, this is the pressure, I got to go the other side. So those are the type of things you can do with young quarterbacks. And I'm not so sure Mac Jones is as mobile as Wilson is.
Yeah, you're 100% right about that. He wasn't that mobile at Alabama, but boy, he can sling the ball.
Well, let me tell you, in Alabama, how many he could have stayed back there for 5 seconds to throw a ball.
He had 5 seconds.
So now he's in the NFL, and he's got to throw this ball out, and that's the only way you're going to make him throw it out there and make him move his feet.
It's such a different game. I mean, look, I don't have to tell you that, Buttle. I mean, look, ultimately, when you're talking about college ball versus the pros, it's such a different animal. So it's hard to really get a grasp of things based on solely what we've seen from college.
Everybody recognizes, I think, what you just said, and that is this. The speed of the game is tremendously different. And it's different because everyone is fast, not just the talented guys. And so what happens, every person, and I'm telling you, every person in media should be forced to go down on the line of scrimmage on a goal line and watch a goal line play. And you would be shocked at the inhumanity that's happening on the goal line in a split second. And now you wonder why guys make mistakes, because you take a false step, it's over, the play's over. And so those are neat things that if I'm a media guy, I'd want to do that. I would be, my job has got to go see it so I can experience what that really looks like.
All right, you clear the way with the Jets for me to be down there on the goal line. I will be right next to you watching that. But
double cheeseburger.
I'll make it happen. I got to ask you, so we'll make it a triple-double for all I care. I got to ask you, you're talking about these complex kind of zone coverages. We know about the youth in the Jets secondary here. How hard is it for somebody to pick up in year one? And we know Robert Saleh likes to leave his corners on an island and say, go cover man to man. Is that an issue for a younger team?
The issue for younger teams is, how do you study? How do you watch film? Because these kids don't know how to watch film.
Buttle was, by the way, talking to me a little bit how to watch film, and the way that you look at it is so different than I think that, as you call, the media types.
Well, you start with the all-22. I mean, you're looking at different film.
Well, that's
we're
correct.
Seeing.
That's correct. And so when you take a look at all of these things that happen out there, and talking about defense, just for I remember my rookie year's defense. I'm in there, and everything was flying around me. And I came from Penn State, which you have to recognize as linebacker you. So it wasn't like I didn't know how to play linebacker, but I didn't know how to play NFL linebacker. And Walt Michaels was the guy that said, no. This is where it's going to be different. This is how we're going to cut. This is how we're going to do this. And so first thing you're going to learn from the defensive starting point is, what's your job? And I say that, and people don't understand what's your job. You got to know your job every single play. The motion comes out, the assessment is going here. They change formations. The quarterback drives back. You got 5 wide receivers, 4 wide receivers, 3 tight ends, 2 back. All of these things go bang. And so you just have to know, what am I supposed to do? Okay? Once you learn that, then you learn out, what does my defensive player supposed to do? The guy behind me. If I'm doing this, what's he doing? And if I'm the guy in front of me and I've got a blitz and I'm going to go in the A gap and the defensive tackle goes in the A gap, you just destroyed the play because the defensive tackle forgot what he was doing or the linebacker forgets. So you've got to understand what you're supposed to do, what your defense is supposed to do, and what the hell is the offense doing to you? And why are they doing it? You line up, a lot of players on defense don't recognize, okay, we're going to play, let's call it cover 2. So in a cover 2, you have 2 safeties that go split the field. You got corners that are going to press. And what are you going to do? Well, number 1 is the tight end. Tight end's got free run. So what are you supposed to do with the tight end? You're playing a zone. You play a man-to-man. You don't play a zone in a 2 zone. The linebacker's got to play a man in a 2 zone. And so what's happening is everyone else is playing zone, and you're playing man because you got to get under the tight end. And the tight end is going to take you out to the numbers and then come back because the safeties is split. So you have to know that before the play is snapped that this is what they're going to do to you. That's all about defense. So when you talk about young guys, you talk about young defenses, how long does it take them to understand these processes that I just said to you in 62 minutes?
So Bill Belichick famously said, do your job. And it was like, it's so easy.
Yeah.
It's not so easy, as Greg just explained. So speaking of Bill, the Patriots have won 10 straight games over the Jets, have swept them 21 times. What would this win mean to this young Jet team, Greg?
I don't think it means anything in terms of the relationship or the competition between the 2 franchises.
You don't?
No, I don't.
You mean big picture? Because on the season it obviously does.
Big picture is this. These guys have no idea about this.
Right.
I mean, they've got 13 new starters on this football team, and half of them are rookies.
As Jerry Seinfeld said, we root for the laundry.
Yes.
I got to tell you, funny line, but it might be true, is that, so you sit out there and, man, you're worried about my job. Then you're worried about, what is that guy behind me doing? This is the second game of the season. Mm-hmm. Actually, really the first. The first game was a scrimmage. It was the fourth preseason game for these teams. The Jets' offensive line didn't even play together until that game. So all of these things come into focus. But you can bet one thing. There's not one player on the Jets or the Patriots that is sitting there going, oh, we just beat them 21 times in a row. Well, let's beat them 22. And the Jets are saying, we lost 21 times in a row. How are we going to beat them? They don't care. That's nothing to do with it.
But for a young team with a new head coach, with a rookie quarterback, with rookies on the defensive side, to beat the Patriots, a division rival, a team that has been a dynasty in this league, you're telling me that that's not important to those players?
Let me try to say it like this. No. I'm trying to tell you is the importance of the game is to win, not beat that rival, or not beat that guy because they have Brady. They don't have Brady. I mean, so this is a different football team.
I mean, look, but they've got Belichick. And I think anytime you beat that coach.
Half these guys don't know who Belichick is.
Stop it.
Serious.
I mean, look, I think this is a man who there's certain wins. I think a win is a win. Bottom line, the Jets need to win. But beating the Pats, despite the fact that Brady's not there anymore, I think there's a little extra something that goes with that.
You tell me.
By the way, Buttle just came very close.
That's right. Tell me.
He was from the A-gap.
Right.
He was going through the A-gap.
Joe and I are trying to protect you.
It's not going to help.
Let me just say this. Let me just say this.
It, yeah.
When the Jets play Tampa Bay, I'll have a different answer for you.
Right. Okay.
They don't even have a competition with Tampa Bay. They're not in the same league.
But it's Brady.
It's the Super Bowl champions that you're playing. Now, that's a different game. That's a different game where you're sitting there going, oh, yeah, I'm going to show these guys what's happening. Whether when I played, we played the Steelers, who were in 4 out of 6 years in a Super Bowl. Oh, my God. Or the 49ers or
So there are measuring stick games, if you want to use a cliche.
Just not one of them,
but this isn't one of them because the Patriots didn't win it all last year, and this is a different Patriots team.
Correct, and I'll tell you a measuring stick to it is, let me see how good they are.
Right.
It's not about how good I am. Let me see how good they are. Let's see if this is really a good football team, because anybody can watch a Super Bowl and the team wins. Hey, listen, Tom Brady probably had his worst game in the championship game against the Packers, but they won.
And the legacy doesn't matter, despite the fact it's more about what have you done lately.
That's correct. So my point is I think that game might be a better yardstick for someone wanting to beat somebody or playing against somebody.
All right. So if they're going to win, the offensive line gave up 6 sacks last week. They can't do that again, but they lost their best offensive lineman in Becton. What can they do to help cover that up, Greg Buttle?
Well, don't think they can't do it again. I'm just saying, all right, anybody can do that again. I mean, if you're bad, you're bad. But the question is are they bad? Is this a byproduct of them not practicing together? And I'm telling you, offensive linemen have to work together. They have to be fluid with each other.
By the way,
Liquid.
use liquid.
Liquid. All right, so the point being is that
Watch the Blitz Sunday at 11 a.m.
I'm going to give that.
Liquid.
I'm going to give the first game to. They haven't played together all preseason. Okay, be that as it may, 6 sacks is still a lot. It doesn't matter to me. Now, maybe 2 were on the quarterback, but I will tell you, the 10 pressures on him were on that offensive line, and so you look around there and you say, okay, what are we going to do to fix that? And it may be you're going to have to keep a tight end in this week. And if I'm the Jets, maybe I start out with keeping the tight end in there and just give him another half a second to look at the field and throw the ball. That's what I would do.
You know, it's funny because Bill Belichick on the other side of the ball is known for scheming to get the ball out of the quarterback's hand fast, right? They set up the screen game. They throw it to the wide receivers on quick outs. They use their running backs out of the backfield. So I think that the Jets could use a little bit of that to protect Zach Wilson, get the ball out of his hands a little faster, that he doesn't have to think as much there. And then the other thing is, look on the other side of the ball. Mac Jones, yes, Zach Wilson was hit 10 times. Mac Jones was hit 9 times. So the Patriots have to protect their own quarterback on that end.
Well, let me just go to my evaluation of that stat, being hit. Being hit is negligible today. It used to be big in the old days. because you could crush a quarterback and break him in half, and you hit him. Today, hit means what? I touched the quarterback after he threw the ball, because anybody else that's going to crush him is getting a penalty. So that alone, I'm saying, all right, it's get him off his mark. Get that quarterback uncomfortable. Make him get happy feet. Move it around. Even when you did it to Brady, and you can take a look at the Giants in 2 Super Bowls. If they don't get him off the spot, they're not winning those Super Bowls. Forget how Manning played, because Manning played great, and they had guys that played just spectacularly at the right time. But they got him off the spot in each of those Super Bowls. And I will tell you something, that's what won the game for him. They didn't blow him out, but they made him work for every single thing that they got, and they didn't turn the ball over. So get him off the spot instead of hitting him. To me, hitting the quarterback is just pressure him, get him off the spot.
Get him off the spot.
That's
I like
it.
that.
So we've been talking about Zach Wilson since he's been drafted. We finally saw him in a game. In the first half, he was running for his life. In the second half, he showed a lot of moxie, and he was hit hard. He got up off the
Great
deck.
word, moxie.
It is a good word.
It is a good word, isn't it? And I like that word. I came up with it myself.
It's Jewish holidays.
It is, yeah. So he was 20 for 37, 258 yards, 2 second-half touchdowns. Andy Adler, what did you see from him in the game?
I saw a rookie that looked like a rookie. However, in the second half, I saw real potential and something to feel really optimistic about. So I feel like if that can carry on going up against the Patriots, the Jets have a legitimate chance of having a legitimate quarterback.
How about this one? Did he not look athletic?
Mm-hmm.
Getting out of there.
Yes.
He didn't look like a stick man. He didn't look like he was frozen. There was no time that you saw him go, oh my God, what am I doing?
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Like he was seeing ghosts.
Right.
Never looked like he was seeing ghosts.
Ain't afraid of them ghosts.
There's no ghosts in Charlotte.
Right. So my thing is that I think, Andy, you're 100% right, is this kid showed you things that the quarterbacks haven't shown in 20 years back there. And maybe that's really good, because maybe you get a piece of Mahomes in this kid. Maybe you get a piece of Aaron Rodgers in this kid. And all you need to do is piece them together, and if he stays healthy, you got a pretty good quarterback.
The other thing I think you have to take away from game one was the chemistry with Corey Davis, because these guys, unlike the majority of the team, did play together in the preseason, and I think that showed week one. Now, Belichick is known for taking away the other team's best weapon. It's going to be interesting to see how the Jets deal with that if the Patriots are able to take Corey Davis away from Zach Wilson.
That's so true. And there's trust there. You could feel it. You could feel that Zach trusts Corey. And that comes from that preseason understanding of each other. So that's something you see it's translating on the field.
So Greg said that maybe they should keep another tight end in to help him. Another thing they could do is do something with the running game. 15 yards and 17 carries, that's not helping the young quarterback. What can they do to help the running game be more explosive and give him more options and more time? Greg, please share.
Says you.
Says I. No, I
says you.
Wait, hold on. Can we rewind the tape?
Yes,
I feel like I just said we are keeping receipts, but these are cast a little quicker.
All right, so just so we're on the same page, I am one of the few that say, I don't want, who cares you can run the ball? All you have to do is run the ball in 2 areas. Goal line, short yardage. Other than that, it's all window dressing. I need to make sure that I can throw touchdowns. That's how you score in this league. You don't score by running backs running for 3 touchdowns in a game. You score because you throw it.
You would score 21 points if you're running back scoring 3 touchdowns.
But that's with no 2-point conversion.
That's true. And assuming you make all the extra points, which you can't assume anymore.
So
all I'm saying is that the people don't understand the insignificance of the running game.
Wait a minute. I got to ask you, because as a defender, we hear about ball control, time of possession. That doesn't matter for the defensive side of the ball. If you go and you can't run the ball and give your defense at least a little bit of the rest, have some of that time of possession, keep the ball out of the opposing quarterback's hands.
Okay, so let me be a defensive player.
Yeah.
Please run the ball. Please run the ball, because I'm going to tackle you. I don't care. If you're not scoring a touchdown and you're kicking a field goal, that's my job.
Yeah, but how about your own defense, right? So when your offense is out there, when your offense is out on the field and you're on the sideline, you were just out there 3 possessions. Don't you want a little bit longer of a rest? Don't you want to know that Tom Brady doesn't have the ball in his hands so many possessions a game?
I'm 22 years old. I'm tired. What are you, nuts? I'm 22 years old. If you're a lineman, or stop being fat and slow. You got to work out. You got to do this stuff. And by the way, you can do things, and it's called situation substitution. In fact, Bill Belichick made that famous. So my point is that from a defensive perspective, I'd much prefer you to run the football and try to control the clock early. Don't run the football and control the clock with 6 minutes to go, because that's a problem. That's a problem. That means you're ahead in the game, and that means now I gotta tackle these guys, and man, I'm tired in the fourth quarter. And I'm not tired because you ran the ball for the first 3 quarters. I'm tired because I'm busy chasing your ass down the field, trying to catch you, throwing the ball. Now you're tired, and man, it builds up, and you get dehydrated. No matter how much water you chase, you get dehydrated. You start cramping up. You start doing things that you're tired. You're mentally fatigued. They've done 3 things in the game you never saw before. And you've got to, okay, in a situation, what are they going to do? How are you going to do this? They're going to run the ball. All we got to do is stop the run. So don't play pass, play run. And so my point is there's a time and place for the significance of running the ball. But overall, it's insignificant in the football game, especially when it comes down to playoffs.
All right, but what about the threat? So if you're playing against Derrick Henry, you're playing against Zeke, one of those running backs, and you've got to prepare for the run. You got to prepare for it on every down, as opposed to if you're playing a team that's going to throw the ball 50 times, you can pin your ears back. You're telling me that there is no difference, and it doesn't help a young quarterback if the defense is preparing for each the run and the pass on each play?
Why does that matter? I got 5 guys to throw the ball to. I've got 1 guy to run the ball.
Yeah, but you're a linebacker. You just said I want to hit that running back. You want to go downhill.
So I'm the offensive guy knowing that.
Well, right, but
why
now,
would I do that? Throw the ball.
Because
make me cover that running back out of the backfield.
Well, because it sucks you up toward the line of scrimmage,
For
and
what?
it opens up so I can get my tight ends or my wide receivers going
here's the misnomer.
Go ahead.
If you are sucked up because of play action, you're a moron.
Oh, this is great!
I
love it. It's so overrated.
Say that statement one more time.
If you are sucked up by play action,
sure,
that's so stupid. It's unbelievable.
Peyton Manning did a great job.
I feel like people might disagree with that. But
wait, tell me why. We got to hear why.
Because I know what the play is. I know from the set what they're going to do, whether they're going to run or pass. I know I got a really good shot knowing what they're going to do. Why? Because I happen to watch film for 40 hours in a week and see exactly what they've done for the last 3 games in the situations of 3rd and 5, 4th and 10, this and this. Every situation you could be, I know what they're going to come out and do.
That's something that people don't necessarily know about you, is that you are such a when it comes to studying the game, it's something that you did and you pride yourself on. You're a student of the game, and
every player should
be.
He
wasn't a student. He went to Penn State. You don't have to go to class there.
Football.
Right.
All I'm saying is I have a pretty good idea of what the play is before the ball snaps, and it can be right up to where the motion comes and go, oh, that's the play. Now, it doesn't mean I'm going to guess, because guessing gets you in trouble, but I'm going to anticipate. I'm not going to make a false step, because that gets you in trouble. I'm going to anticipate this is what the play is going to be. And if you anticipate 99% of the plays, you're pretty good. I don't care if it's run or pass. So to me, it's the insignificance of the running game is just right there. It doesn't. If you want to say they're going to tire you out running the ball, all right, tire them out. All right, give him a dose of Henry all you want. Now, Henry's biggest runs are mostly in the fourth quarter.
Yeah.
I mean, where you come out and you go, perfect example, Le'Veon Bell.
Yeah.
Le'Veon Bell, you're as fast as Le'Veon Bell, and believe me.
Yeah.
He is?
Yeah, what do you mean he is? He is.
I don't know if that's a compliment for you or a detriment to Le'Veon Bell.
At 57, I'll take it as a compliment.
Le'Veon Bell.
The answer is both, Joe.
Le'Veon Bell. My point about Le'Veon Bell is he was an unbelievable back with the Steelers in the fourth quarter, because the Steelers were ahead by 3 or by 4 or by 5 or by 6. And all they had to do was hand it to the guy that stutter steps. And he's a big back. It's hard to hold on to these guys. So he's breaking tackles. He's getting 4 yards a clip. Does he get 4 yards a clip before the fourth quarter? No, he's getting 1 yard. He's tackled in the backfield. And the Jets got him. And unfortunately for Le'Veon Bell, Jets couldn't do anything with him because they're never heading a football game.
So you blame the Jets or you blame Le'Veon Bell for the lack of production?
Well, you blame the offense for not scoring. You've got to score points in this league. You've got to be ahead of that football team. Once you gain the advantage, it's like chess. You're in chess, you make a move because that guy's got to make a move to counteract that move. If you don't, then he's got the advantage. So you have to be able to say, okay, here's the game plan. This is what I'm trying to do. The first 10 plays in the game are scripted, or 15. A lot of teams can do this. But you've got to be able to go out there and say, okay, let me see what they do when we run this formation. Let's see what they do when we put a man in motion. Let's see what they do when I know they're going to be in zone. Let's see if they're going to go change from a blitz to a zone. So all these plays are done for a reason, to find out what that defense is going to do given that situation. You don't even run the play again until maybe the third or fourth quarter. All of a sudden, now you know what they're going to do.
Yeah.
And by the way, they're in the wrong personnel. I got them. So all of these things take place. That's what game plans are all about in the NFL.
And the football IQ, that's where that really starts to play a big factor. Who do you think right now has the highest football IQ that you're watching on the field?
Well, quarterbacks do.
Who?
Oh, Tom Brady by a mile.
Yeah.
By a mile.
Ever since Peyton Manning left the game.
Yeah,
Well,
he's done okay.
Again, I just differentiate between those two, where Peyton Manning was more of a rote guy. In other words, this is what we're practicing, this is what they're going to do, and on this play, I'm going to change the play to run it because they're playing nickel.
Like Manning, a rogue guy.
Like Peyton Manning did that.
And Eli was a rogue guy as well.
Well,
He certainly was in the championship run.
I think,
right? He won 3 road games.
I think they were pretty good. Now, Tom Brady, on the hand, is not a road guy, but I think he knows what they're doing, to the point being, or he knows all the road stuff. Mm-hmm. But I know that I got single coverage on this guy. I'm throwing it to him. He may not go and play the deep game. That's Ben Roethlisberger. Ben Roethlisberger gets double coverage on my guy that can catch it. He's throwing him the ball. And he's going to force the issue. And how many times did he force the issue and win with it? And that's the difference in some of these quarterbacks. You know, they are all great in their own respect, but only the really, really, really good ones they're absolutely, this is the way it's got to be. I can't go out of that box. Ben Roethlisberger would get out of that box. Drew Brees would stay in that box. Tom Brady stays in this box. He knows exactly where it's going, why it's going. So when you're a young quarterback, think of all the things you have to learn as a quarterback, how much you have to feel, what the difference in line stunt is. When I'm throwing that 7-yard out, it can't be a 5-yard out. You have to run 7 yards. When I'm throwing you the little fade, you have to know that once you feel that cornerback on top of you, it's the fade. Once he's underneath you, it's to the outside. So all of these things come into play that the quarterback already knows with the wide receivers. Not one defender knows this stuff. When I say knows it, they're at a disadvantage because once they do something, he's doing another thing. So that's the hard part about playing defense, especially with the rules.
Love it. Okay. Who's going to win Sunday's game and why? Andy, we'll go right to left. Let Greg have the last word.
All right, I'm going to go with the Jets just because I want to believe it. I feel like you got 2 rookies. If Zach continues with what we saw in that second half, I'm going to go Jets by 3.
I'm going to go with the Patriots. I think they have the chess master over there in Bill Belichick. I think the fact they turned the ball over 4 times and we're still pretty close, or fumbled 4 times, I should say. We're really close to winning that game in Miami. I don't think they make the mistakes again this week. I think they take it.
Well, to me, I swear to God, it doesn't matter who wins. And I've tried to say this. I'm trying to tell you. Because I'm not playing.
At least you're consistent.
I'm not playing. It would matter to me to win. But what really matters is to get that line situated where they're playing better and the quarterback plays better, because it's a long season.
The score takes care of itself.
It does. If you do that, it will take care of itself. And look what happened to the Patriots.
He was a good coach.
They lost the game. Bill Belichick lost that game. Did he lose that game? Or did he only wins games? Well, I can't remember what it was.
I think he only wins games.
He only wins games. He don't lose that game. Players probably lost the game.
Right. Yeah.
So the thing is that, and like I've always said, coaches coach, players play. And you got to play. And you got to play smart. You got to play fast. You got to play hard. Once you get those 3 together, you got a football team.
And who's going to win? You're not going to give a prediction because it doesn't matter? It matters for our audience.
I'll take the Jets at home. I'll take the Jets at home.
By what?
Oh, by 4.
I'll take the Jets at home by 5. All right, so let's quickly get to the Giants. Their game is over. So the question is, do you blame Dexter Lawrence?
97.
In a heartbeat. In a heartbeat, he lost the game for him. Every player in the field knows that, because what happens before that meant nothing. Oh, yeah, I dropped the pass, I missed the tackle, I fumbled the ball, I did this, but we were ahead. And here it is with a 56-yard field goal, whatever the field goal was. Go off sides, you're done. So my thing is, yeah, I would blame him.
Andy?
I feel like this is a lot of blame to go around. I mean, you got to blame Dexter. You got to give Coach a little blame on this. I feel like there was so much blame to go around. It was nice to see Daniel Jones actually have moments of greatness there. But ultimately, yeah, there is quite a bit of blame to go around. Dexter gets most of it.
So we take the temperature every week. Daniel Jones, is he or is he not going to be the franchise quarterback? Last night, 22 for 32, 249, threw a touchdown pass, ran for 95, ran for a touchdown. Other than Dexter Lawrence's penalty, he would have had a win, and I know everybody would say he took a step forward. They didn't win. What do you guys think? Greg, did he take a step forward? Did he show you that he could be that guy?
No, I thought he was that guy when he's at Duke. You know, I did the Duke bowl game at Yankee Stadium. It was a pinstripe bowl at the time, and I loved it. I go, boy, that kid's a good quarterback.
Yeah.
He's got pretty good feet, and he can throw the ball. I don't know if it translates, but so he goes to the Giants, and I think he's a good quarterback. Would anybody recognize the fact that he really didn't have what he needed around him last year? No. This year, he's got to orchestrate an offense that lost Barkley. Now Barkley's coming back, but do you want to really have Barkley run the ball all the time? I said no. So what I liked about it, what I saw with Jones, was his running ability, a la Josh Allen from the Bills, where this guy's big and fast, and he can. Oh, I got to tell you, he can do it. The question is that going to be part of that offense, which I, as an offensive coordinator, would do. I would do that, because if you don't want him to get hurt and you want to play a staid drop back offense, well, then go do that. But if you want to win, that guy can help you win. Let him help you win. Don't put the pressure on him to make you win. Let him help you win. That's what I think. That's why I like Jones.
So you always say, winning really is, at the end of the day, what they play the games for. So
unless you're Buttle, who cares if they win?
Who cares if they win?
Right.
That's just the Jets. So Jones was 4-0 against Washington. He only had 4 wins against the rest of the NFL. How confident are you, coming out of last Thursday night's game, that he can be a consistent winner? He showed that he can run. He showed that he can throw the ball well. But can he be a winner in this league?
Play a little better defense. Don't screw up special teams and go off sides and lose the game because of it. And you have a quarterback that will be able to gain more confidence. And not that he lost confidence. I got to believe that he really – I think that if I were him, I'd be satisfied with the way I play. Could I play better? Sure. But I got to tell you something. You could play a lot worse. He played really good. And I think that that's a good sign for the Giants.
Andy?
I agree. I mean, he's a tough guy. I think people forget that sometimes. And you mentioned back in the day when he was at Duke, I remember talking to his coaches and getting a sense. And this is a kid, for lack of a better term, who goes out there and is not afraid. And that's number one. And number two, this is the best performance I've seen from Daniel. I mean, maybe I would go as far as saying the last 3 years since he's been in the NFL. So, yeah.
So, Greg, you talk about playing better defense, but he's had 40 turnovers, and that puts the defense in bad positions. I feel like if he cleans that up, that could be the key to him winning games.
So how come he has 40 turnovers?
You tell me.
Okay, so he's got the pressure on him to make things happen. Because nobody else is helping him around it. The offensive line wasn't helping him around it. Their defense wasn't helping him around it. It's that guy. He's the core. Man, and the pressure in New York under the media is, they're looking at him. Look at us talking about him right now. That kid, just let him play. Don't put the pressure on him to make every play, every single throw. You've got to have somebody take responsibility as players to be better. You've got to be better, number 97. You've got to be better, 52. And you know what? Just because you try to be better, that may not be good enough. You've got to be better. What is it? The coaches would know, you got to be more disciplined. But what are you thinking of in that situation? I'm going to pull him over. What were you thinking of on this play? As I would when I played, and with Lance Mel or Bob Crable or Marty Lyons. I go, Marty, what are you thinking? I'm not kidding you. And Marty would tell you, because as you look at what's happening on the field at that time, you've got to be so prepared for everything. Somebody should have been on the Giants defense saying, don't go off sides. In fact, don't rush the kicker. He's trying to kick a 56. He has no idea you're not rushing. The rush means nothing to him. How many times are you going to sneak through and block a kick? Once in every 152,000 kicks? You can't even do that because you can't jump on the center.
It's not going to be the nose either.
Right. So my thing is I think that you have to pull up the bridges and say, okay, let me help you. Yeah. And the coaches have to say, let me help him. And I think you saw part of that in the Thursday night game, because those were some called run plays by the quarterback. They were spectacular.
Yeah.
Spectacular.
Play run option. The other thing that helped him, that has not helped him in his 3 years in the league, his offensive line, for some reason, played well last night against what was considered one of the best defensive lines in football. Do you feel like the offensive line somehow is coming together in week 2?
Okay, so how did they play better from the first game to the second game is what you have to look at. In other words, what was their game plan in the first game? Were they trying to run the ball too much in the first game? Was the fact that Barkley was back, even though he didn't run it a lot? Maybe he took something away from the defense. Maybe they weren't going to blitz as much because they're afraid of Barkley coming out of the back. A lot of these extraneous things happen out there that you don't know about, why somebody played great this week or that. Sometimes coaches screw up in the game plan that they put out there. It's okay. You got out-coached. Out-coached. Oh, my God. Out-coached? Everyone gets outplayed. How come no one gets out-coached? Now, coaches will be the first one to say, well, we got out-coached.
Well, didn't a wise man once say, coaches coach and players play?
Absolutely. And he's a handsome wise man.
He is a handsome wise man, isn't he?
That's exactly right. So when Sunday comes, coaching's over. Mm. It's about you playing. And if you're not prepared, and if you haven't prepared to where you can be and know what's going on, shame on you. And you're not a professional. You're an amateur.
What we saw with the Giants were avoidable mistakes. I saw 3 big errors. I think they were avoidable mistakes. They didn't have to lose on Thursday. And I think that's what makes this loss so painful, because it was such a good performance by Daniel Jones. There were these glimmers of greatness. And the fact that they weren't able to actually get a W at the end speaks volumes.
Well, play fast, play hard, play smart.
Smart.
Smart may be the biggest part of everything.
Dexter did not play smart at the end.
And by the way, hey, look, I really don't know the kid, and he's not the first guy that's done it. Then many players have going on. Klecka used to go off sides all the time, but they get hyped up and they're not thinking situational. Right? They're thinking, I'm going to get off. No, you've got to think first. Do not go off sides. Whatever you do, just be a quarter of a second late, because your quarter of a second ain't going to matter right now.
He's lined up over the ball, too.
That's correct.
Watch the ball.
That's another issue. But anyway, my thing is those guys have to recognize that and fix it. And mental errors kill you. Mental errors are a killer.
So for the Giants, Saquon came out of the game healthy. I think that's the biggest thing.
That's the key.
It's 10 days to rest up. He also had one long chunk run, but he only had 57 yards. What did you see from Saquon in the second game?
I mean, I'm so hesitant with Saquon. I still feel like when you suffer that kind of an injury, you gotta take it easy. I wasn't necessarily impressed with what I saw, but I was more relieved, which is not necessarily what you want to finish watching a game and be like, okay, good, he's not hurt. Like, okay, good, he's still healthy. But ultimately, no, I really wasn't that impressed by what we saw on Thursday.
I'm not that was a lead draw play, and I saw the play, and he had great blocking, and he went and broke it outside. Okay, so it's a good play.
Right.
But again, what's the significance of that 48-yard run? Nothing. At the end of the day, it means nothing. If you're going to throw him the ball on the 8-yard line and he goes around and scores the touchdown, man, that's what I want Saquon Barkley for. I don't care about him running the ball like that. And this is me. It's not the Giants. It's not the Jets. This is me. This is what I think of. This is my perspective when I look at football. And all of these running backs, if you can't catch the ball out of the backfield, I don't want you. I want the guy that can be a LaDainian Tomlinson. I want the guy that can be a McCaffrey. Catch the ball. All you have to do is get me 7 yards. That's a killer to defense. 2nd and 3? Oh, I'm in no man's land. Now I have a hard time. Now you want to talk about guessing? Because that's what you're going to do. So if you have a Barkley, it's more important to use Barkley in that passing game. Whether it's a quick flip here, or it's a throw here, it's a screen pass. Man, you get him going. He's tough to tackle. He's short, stocky, and fast. Those guys are tough.
So speaking of tough, for Giant fans, they've started 0-2 every year since 2017, have not made the playoffs since the year before in 2016. Greg Buttle, make Giant fans feel better. What do they have to do to turn the ship around and make the playoffs this year?
They have to play smarter. I mean, it's all about playing smarter, and I think that Joe Judge is the judge on that. I mean, you know that's one of his main goals is to have his team be a smart team, and you can't make these little mistakes. And I'm talking penalties and an offsides at the worst time in the game. So that's as big a mental error as you could possibly have. It's a dumb play. I can't phraseology it any better than that. It's a dumb play.
I like that.
We said phraseology.
That's from the
good.
Music Man. That's from the Music Man.
Nice. Andy?
Anyway.
Okay, I'll make Giant fans feel better. Last time I can recall that they were 0-2 when I was covering this team. You know where I'm going with this.
I do know where you're going.
The year was 08-09. They were 0-2.
They won the 3rd game in D.C.
Yep.
Never looked back.
Never looked back.
They got a roll at the end of the season, too.
Yeah, Road Warriors. And I remember, and it wasn't just the fact.
Tampa, Dallas, Green Bay, the Super Bowl.
So what you're alluding to is the fact that 0-2 doesn't mean anything.
It doesn't.
Unless you think 0-2, oh my God, oh woe was me. I mean, we started out 1-3-1, made the playoffs, as a matter of fact, back in '82. I mean, so you're talking about fans are the ones that sit there and go 0-2 for 17 years. Why? Because the media keeps reminding them. But today's another game. It's another day. It's another dollar. It's another year. And so you can't look back at history and say, oh, that's the difference. I mean, if you look at the Jets, people go back in history and go, oh my God, the same old Jets. That's the worst
what
thing.
What is it that Belichick says? He says if you live in the past, you die in the future, or you die in the present. I mean, that's exactly it. And so I think that's accurate. But at the same time, 0-2, when you look at the last, Todd, you said the stats. The last time the Giants were in the playoffs, it was 2016. And they started 0-2 since 2017. It's not good. Like, let's not sugarcoat it.
Well,
it's not good.
I mean, just look at the look at the NFC East. Is there a juggernaut there? Everyone's all over Philadelphia, but I'm not so sure they're that good. I mean, they're they're under 500.
Everyone complained that Jalen Hurts was taken out of the game versus Washington, and that blew it. And this year, everyone's like, I don't know about Philly because of Jalen.
I like the Giants' chances this year. I think they have a good nucleus on their football team. Yeah, like every team that's not in the Super Bowl, they got to fill in pieces. Tampa Bay, Todd Bowles did a great job with that defense, but he had some pieces there that were just spectacular pieces defensively. You know, the offense was just don't hurt us. Tom Brady hurt him in the championship, and they still won. So there comes a time where you become who you are. People don't know what the Giants are yet. We certainly don't know what the Jets are. Anybody can tell you what the Tampa Bay Bucks are. You know, maybe they can tell you what the Cleveland Browns are, but you're not going to be able to know what the Giants are until about week 4 or 5.
And same with the Jets,
right? And so hopefully you get to a point where you win that game instead of lose the game. Because there's going to be 3 or 4 more games like that on the Giants' schedule and Jets' schedule where they're going to have a chance to win or they're going to have that chance to lose. And when you start winning those games, that's when you know that you've got a pretty good football team and you can really make something out of it.
So they say history is the best teacher. Let's leave the Giant fans with this from Greg Buttle. You said you guys turned around a season and made the playoffs. What happened in the locker room? How did you guys turn it around?
Despite the fact what players say, most players read the papers. Oh, and they look at the headlines and they look at this nonsense and you listen to every talking head on radio that's an expert. Everybody's an expert. It's like COVID. Everyone's an expert on COVID, yet they don't know what the hell's going on. And so it's because player A told this person and told that, yeah, I heard that that's what this guy said. It's not necessarily true. So stay away from that nonsense and concentrate on what you want to do. And I think that our biggest thing is we had a pretty good football team. We lost a couple of close games. And you couldn't get down from losing the close games because you got to play every game that you play. It's just like playing golf. The only hole that matters is the one you're playing. It's not the next hole. The only hole that matters is the next shot. Yeah, so when you get into these areas, you've got to be really microscopic and focused on what you're thinking about. And by the way, it's difficult. It's difficult to do these things in your job, whatever you're doing, whether you're producing or you're on air talent or you're writing or whatever other stuff. Man, it's so hard to become unfocused. And it's so easy to become unfocused, I should say, because, man, I mean, after 20 minutes of concentrating, yeah, you're tired. Then you start thinking about this and, oh, let me take a break and let me do this. Football is unbelievably, tremendously a focused business. Professional sports is. And people don't recognize how much the mental aspect of that is. We changed around. We got the mental aspect a little situated. We ended up winning a couple of games and won some close games and then made some plays. Next thing you know, we were in the playoffs.
There you go. Focus on every play. Giants fans, don't get discouraged. Jet fans, good luck against the Patriots today. This is Todd Ehrlich for Joe Massari, Andy Adler, Greg Buttle. Thank you so much for listening to PIX on Pigskin. We'll see you next week. Enjoy the games, everybody.
I see that. That would be a show.